Hi everyone, Sarah here from Sarah Homfray Embroidery. Welcome to another Chit Chat Tuesday. I've come to the other end of the studio today because I seem to have a lot to show you today, and I've got a bit more space down here so I can spread myself out a bit. So I'm going to do a few things today. I'm going to revisit the box because I've been sorting it out. So we'll look at that in a second. And I also want to invite you to join me on Friday for a little bit of stitching. It's International Mindfulness Day on Friday, and we're going to do some mindful embroidery, and I'm going to invite you to join me, and I'm going to show you what you need if you want to stitch along with me on Friday, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, so I said we're going to revisit this. We've had a lot of response to this. So this was in last week's Chit Chat video, Chit Chat Tuesday video, and I was talking about my embroidery collection and how I was organising it and sorting it out. And I bought this very expensive archival box to put all my goodies in. So I have been doing that. If you want to know more about that, go and check out that video. I'll put that up at the end for you to go and have a look at that and see what all that was about. But I have been sorting it out, been putting things inside, been wrapping them up in my acid-free tissue and labelling them and putting them inside. But they generated quite a lot of discussion, lots of comments going on underneath this box, because I had a few things that I wasn't sure what I should do with. So I just want to reiterate at this point that this is for some pieces that I've collected. This is not pieces that I have made. This is pieces in my collection that I've either been given or I've found online and I've bought, or I've seen them at a flea market or something like that. So these are pieces that I want to keep and I want to look after. So that's what's in there, and you can check out that video and see a few of the pieces in there. We pull out some goodies and we have a little look at those, but these were the problem ones here, and you had lots of ideas about what I should do with them, so I just thought I would update you on that. So I had a few little bits and bobs that are kind of left over from something else. So I had these beautiful little pieces of lace with beading on them. Absolutely gorgeous. A couple of these here, and I was like, do I put them in the collection to keep them for rainy day? Somebody comes across them and says they're important, or do I use them because they're only little bits of scraps of pieces? And there's another little bit here. Now this actually comes off the bottom of here, so it's already been cut up, obviously. So I decided I'd actually use those. They're very beautiful, but I still, when it came to it, I struggled to use all of it. I still just cut a little bit off and use a little bit. It's quite difficult, I find, to use this stuff. I'm just not used to it. So be kind to me for those of you who don't have a problem with this. And I just made some little slow stitch pieces. Show it to the camera, and I just put a little bit of the sparkly bit on there. So there's some other vintage fabrics in here. There's some vintage lace as well. And I thought, oh, this might be a nice opportunity to put some of this beautiful beaded embroidery on. So there's just a little bit on there, and I've done 4 of these. These are in progress, so I'll put those on my social media when I've finished with them. Some still with the pins in, so there's a little bit of that on each one. So I have actually bitten the bullet with that, and I have used a little bit of it, but I've still got a little bit left if I do decide I want to keep some in the collection. So I think I made a good start with that and getting that out and actually putting it in some stitching. So the other big problem were these pre-printed tablecloths and cushion covers. Got the designs already marked on, and you stitch them, so there's no threads with them, there's no stitch plans with them. They're huge and there's a big pile of them. Never going to do them, but they're really beautiful designs and the fabric's really lovely. So I was like, what shall I do with these? So lots of suggestions about selling them, giving them away. Maybe people in care homes might like to do them, have something to do with their hands, but again, there's no threads with it. So I think it was Caroline, thank you Caroline, who actually came up with what I thought was a really good suggestion, and was to use them in some classes. So if I cut them up, there's a lot of them, and if you have a look on the internet you'll find tons of these. So I know these are not precious, but I could cut them up and we could all have a little bit of it, and then we could do some stitching on that, and everybody's would be a little bit different and you could interpret it any way you wanted. So I thought that was a really lovely idea, and I'd really like to do some more classes in the future. So I think I might hang on to those for that purpose. We can all have a bit, we can share it out, and we can all kind of work collectively on this project and have a bit of the same thing and work it in our own way. So I really like that idea. I thought that was a fabulous idea. So I'm going to hang on to all of these for now. there's been a lot of mention about doing giveaways, and I know you'd all like to get your hands on some of this stuff. Just until we fix the post to America, I don't want to do any giveaways at the minute because I don't want to exclude you in America, and we're just trying to sort that out still with the new tariff, so do bear with us on that one. We are getting somewhere with that, but we're not quite there yet, so I'm not going to give anything away until that's sorted. So I'm going to hang on to these for now with the idea of sharing it out either in a class, or maybe we do a YouTube project and I send out some bits and you can all show me what you've done. I don't know, but that's the kind of idea that I'm thinking for the tablecloths and the cushion covers. So there were other suggestions for some of the other things I've got in the box. Lots of you said, I'll get it out and put it on display. A bit short of space for that. And I have a massive amount of my own work as well. I've got 4 drawers just full of my own stitching as well. So space is a problem. So my kind of idea with this box is to keep it as a collections box, and maybe it could come out and it can be studied for videos or in a class. We used to do this when I trained at the Royal School of Needlework. When I did my needlework apprenticeship there, they had a huge collection at the RSN in boxes like this, and we would have collection days and we could pull a box down from the collection, which at that time I was at the school was actually in the same building, so it's very easy for us to do that. And then we would study some pieces in the collection, which was always absolutely fantastic to have that resource on hand. So my idea is that this one box will be my version of that, and maybe we can pull it out for different reasons and maybe different video content in the future. Okay, so this brings me to the controversial piece of the silk panels. I'm just going to ask Jonathan to pass it to me because it's huge. And I've laid it out, coming my way. So I told you about this piece. There's no particular way up, I don't think. There it is in its hole, and I had it wrapped up and I said, what should I do with this? And I kind of put on the title of that, what should I do with it? Shall I cut it up? Which, as you can imagine, was a little bit controversial. Oh, slipping off, so I'm just going to put that down there. So I've got a couple of pieces like this that are very fragile, and they're just a remnant of something. So this one is some applique embroidery. It's some silk embroidery. These flowers are all stitched in silk. They've been stitched separately. They've been applied to this backing fabric, and then the stems have been stitched on to join them all up. So I didn't know what to do with it. It's got a great big tear down the middle, and it is just coming apart on its own. You can see that without me even doing anything. So it is in a really fragile state. So I was like, do I keep it for prosperity? Do I roll it up and talk about it occasionally and then roll it back up and put it away again, or do I actually use some of this? So as you can imagine, opinions on this were quite divided. Everything from, how can you cut it up? It's terrible. It did upset a few people. Didn't mean to upset anybody, but yeah, a few people were a little bit shocked that I might even consider that. But the overwhelming response was yes, reuse it, which I thought was really interesting actually, and your reasons for reusing it as well. And a whole discussion about what precious was and would it be around in the future anyway? And somebody suggested that people made these things not to be permanent. They were very precious items. They would be reused again and again. So most of you were for reusing it. And when I kind of said, shall I cut it up? I wasn't just going to randomly, cut it up and chuck it away. I would always do something with careful thought and repurposing it and making something beautiful out of it. So it's not a case of disrespecting it. I would always give it the utmost respect for these beautiful old embroideries and repurpose it into something new. So that was the overwhelming response, was to reuse it and to repurpose it into something else. So what that led to was me having a closer look at it, and I thought maybe I could study it. So I've done that in a video before. I've got an old piece from the collection. So I did it with the chenille and silk flowers, and I got that out again, and we had a close look at it, and I did some designs for it and I made some videos on it. So I thought I'll have a little close look at this while I'm here, just to see if I can see where it's from. So a lot of you suggested that I should contact various different institutions and ask them what they thought of it. Now, when I did my training for the RSN, we did do some conservation and some restoration, so I am aware of those techniques, what's involved and how long that takes and what's actually feasible with that. So I'm not going to go down a restoration conservation route with this. I'm just not interested in doing that, and it's already been cut, so there's a big slice right down 3 sides of it, so there's a sort of hem along here, and then it's already been cut. So there is more of this somewhere in the world. I don't know where. So it's kind of not like this is the only piece of it anywhere in the world. So I'm not going to go down the restoration conservation route, but it did leave me to just doing a little bit of research on it, and I Google lensed it, took a picture of it, asked Google Lens if it could recognise it, and I couldn't find anything exactly like this, but there were lots of pieces that did come up similar to this sort of design. So I think it might be Indian. I think it's got Indian origin, so I'm probably guessing around 1900s maybe for this. It's a little bit sort of chintzy kind of design, and it's all done in silk. It's very beautifully done in silk, so it's not new, but I think that's probably the origin of it is probably Indian. So I've studied it closely, and I'm going to show you some close-ups of it because I've done some designs from it, so I thought it'd be really nice to share it with you. So I've taken some of the elements from it, I've made some designs. I'm going to put it on the free stuff page, come back to that in a second, because I just want to tell you a little story. So this is a really interesting idea to discuss, because somebody left me a comment and said that they thought I shouldn't cut it up and it was precious and I should do some more research on it and see what it was and how would I feel if it was my piece of work and someone had cut it up. So this reminded me of the Bacton altar cloth. Now I don't know if you've heard of the Bacton altar cloth. So it was found, I'm going to read this because a bit of information about this, in St Faith's Church in a place called Bacton in Herefordshire. So the story is that Queen Elizabeth I had 1,900 dresses, and it was not known that any of these dresses survived. Of the 1,900 dresses, there were no surviving dresses until they found this altar cloth. So it was discovered in this church in, I think it was the 1900s, underneath Vicar's bed. It's stored there, and the locals saved up a few pennies, it was £3 I think it was, to get this beautiful piece of fabric framed, and they put it up on the wall on the church. And then it sort of became apparent later that in a little bit more research, and people have been looking into this, that this altar cloth maybe had another story, and that they think it was one of the dresses of Queen Elizabeth I, so therefore the only surviving dress from Queen Elizabeth I. It's got a provenance they can trace back through the church. So Blanche Parry, she was the head of the Privy Chamber for Queen Elizabeth I, and this church was her local church, and she has a memorial for herself in the church, and her family's in the church, and this cloth was found in the church. So you can see how she could have got hold of this dress. You can see the provenance of that throughout history and how it would come to be in that church. So it all sounds very plausible, and they've had studied this dress very closely, and you can see that this altar frontal the panels in it were actually dress shaped. You can see how they could have been cut to form a dress. So you can see that it was once a dress. But what I found really interesting about this idea is if it hadn't been cut up, the dress had not been cut up and made into the altar frontal, it would have probably disappeared as well with her other 1,899 dresses. So it's only survived because it was cut up and it was repurposed. So I think that's a really interesting thought for you to ponder, that this thing has only survived because somebody has repurposed it. So maybe I'm just trying to find an excuse to tell myself it's okay to cut this up. But I did think that was a really interesting story, and we can give things new life. We can breathe new life into things if we treat them carefully, treat them with respect, and we can turn them into something for the future. Okay, so let's come back to my little designs I've done for you. So I've had a close look at this, trying to work out what I know about it and what I can tell from it. And it's actually really, really beautiful. There's some really incredible stitching on it. So there are repeat patterns on this, and I've picked a few of the flowers. So I've picked 3 tulips. I'm going to zoom in closely, and I'm just going to show you around those tulips and then show you the designs and let you know where you can get hold of those designs for free. So this is the first one that I have done for you. So a nice simple tulip shape here, and you can see if you look around the edges that they are done with a buttonhole stitch. They've all got buttonhole stitch around the edges, and then they were applied afterwards. So this buttonhole stitch is part of the original stitching, and then there's some sort of satin stitch in here. There is stem stitch is the other stitch. So satin stitch, stem stitch and buttonhole for the really simple one. But you can see how beautiful that is, just a couple of colours and just a few stitches. So that's the first one I've done for you. And then we come to this one over here, so slightly bigger, a little bit more complex. I've simplified the design out a little bit, so there's not all of this different stitching in there, but you could add in as much stitching as you like. But the colours are really beautiful, that beautiful gold background colour and this dark red stitching. But again, a buttonhole edging all the way around here. We've got some stem stitching here, and this is sort of, it's not quite a fly stitch, it's a kind of sort of satin stitch but goes into the middle. So on either side like that to form this kind of leaf shape. So again, some very simple stitching, but just beautiful together and beautiful colour combinations. And then the last one that I've done for you. So this great big one in the centre here, and I just want to point out this tear here. So this is where the silk is disintegrating. You can see how bad it is. And this is because it's been folded right down the middle here. It's been folded in half and stored, and that means the silk's rotted where it's been folded. So just for future reference, don't fold your embroideries. Make sure you roll them up. Check out the video on how to look after your embroidery if you want to know more about that. But that's why this one has actually gone rotten. It's gone rotten right down the side of this big one here, which is what enables me to have a close look and see how it's been constructed. So I've done this design for you as well. Again, simplified it a little bit. It's quite unusual patterns in it, but exactly the same stitches. Again, we've got the buttonhole around the edge. And we've got some satin stitching here, and I'll just go in a little bit closer. There you go, you can see that really nice and closely now. And this is very fine. This is done in sort of one strand of a twisted silk. So it's been done extremely finely, but you could do it in a cotton. You don't need to do it in a silk. But again, that beautiful gold colour background. We've got red and green, and then a very pale pink stitching in that one there. So this is the free design that I've done for you here. So this is the simple one. That's the second one that I've shown you. And this is the one in the middle. I've simplified it down a little bit, but you can see a little bit more detail in that. And I've just given you an outline, 3 different outlines for you to have a go at if you'd like to have a go at these beautiful flowers. So I haven't put any stitches on here or any stitch plans or anything like that. This is just the outlines. I just thought while I was studying this, it would be a great opportunity just to draw some of these flowers and share them with you. So if you want to have a go at interpreting it in your own way, you can get that from the free stuff page of the website. I'll put a link in the description below this video. Just go and click that, pop along, and you can download that for nothing, and you can have a go at some of these tulips from this beautiful piece of fabric. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this Friday is International Mindful Day, and we are going to do some mindful embroidery. A good excuse to do some mindful embroidery. So I'd like you to join me. It'd be very nice if you joined me. So you're just going to need a couple of things. We're going to do something a little bit different to what I would usually do when I say mindful embroidery. I usually leap into some slow stitching. I'm not going to do some slow stitching. We're going to have a little play with some stitches and just on a piece of fabric. So if you want to join me, you just need a little bit of fabric. This is a 4-inch hoop. That's all that I am going to use for this. Just a little bit. We don't want to do anything that's going to take years and years to do. It's just about having a little play. You can put it in a hoop if you like. You can hold it in your hand if you want to. If you like using stretcher bars, you can put it in some stretcher bars. If you're a cross stitcher, you can do it on Ada. If you're a needle pointer, you can do it on needlepoint canvas. So anybody can have a go at this. So a little bit of fabric in your hand or in the frame of your choice. We've got a bit more of a tulip theme going on here, but my little tulip tin of threads. So just grab yourself some threads. Don't worry about what they are. These are my little leftover ones without labels and little odds and ends. I'm just going to dive in there and use what I've got in there. So you don't need anything special for this. If you want to play with some threads, this is a good opportunity to do that. Just need some fabrics, some threads and some needles. And then join me on Friday to see what we are going to do with those. Okay, so thank you for joining me, everybody, on this Tuesday. If you wanted to see last Tuesday's chit chat video, you can see that up here. Lots more about what's in that box, and I show you some pieces in there. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up as always, and I'll see you next time.